Welcome to the Clarksburg Silt Show. I think we're going to get a little extra silty today. We might. I don't know.
Silty.
A little silty.
All right.
Welcome. We're so glad you are here at the Silt Studios, here at our beautiful tasting room. It's a beautiful day. We are looking out at beautiful sunshine and the Babel Slough. Just missing you guys here in the tasting room. Can't wait to open up soon at some point. But today, thank you for joining us at our live show. We are going to have fun. Today, we are showing the love to the moms out there. David, do you have a favorite mom?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You think about it.
I think I do.
If you're a mom watching
I only
right
have
now,
one.
if you're a mom watching right now, I just want to salute you and say thank you for joining us. I hope your favorite child bought you this flight. And the smartest child got it with the promo code, 20% off. Yeah. I hope you have a wine in your glass already. I sure don't. David, you want to help me with that?
Yeah, let's do that.
And then also, if you haven't done so already, open up that red blend, that Reclamation Red. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about aging wines today. And you're going to want to make sure that you open that now. Maybe pour just a little bit in a glass. Get some good surface area in the bottle just to help with the
Oxidation.
I was looking for the word.
Just volatilize those
Yes.
aromatics and get the wine ready.
So what's cool about this flight is that moms picked it. So moms did a... No, don't do that. Don't scare me. Moms picked this flight out. We did some polls out there. Thank you for engaging with us and helping choose. And so today we're going to be tasting the Sparkling Chenin Blanc, the Rosé of Valdiguié, and of course, as I mentioned, the Reclamation Red Blend. Dave, I'm just noticing just how wonderfully you're opening that bottle of wine. I am so thirsty right now. So we've got also some segments we're going to talk about. As I said, aging wine. We're going to have a special toast to moms with a special guest. And we're going to do a cool new segment called In the Vineyard. David is out in the vineyard a ton these days. It's looking beautiful. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. How to participate. Please help us out and engage. Ask those questions. This is going to be a unique opportunity to ask questions to the man that knows everything about wine, about Clarksburg. We're going to be talking about that and try to engage with you and ask those questions. Of course, if we don't get to your question, we'll get to the question afterwards. We actually get online and both of us go through all the comments. I mean, we had like 400 comments last time.
Yeah.
400. I love it.
It takes a while to go through all of them.
Yeah, so give us a couple days.
It's a lot of fun.
But it's a lot of fun, and it's some great comments. And I love it when you tease David. He is the ultimate wine nerd.
I didn't see any teasing.
I saw. Oh, maybe those were my comments.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. And then also engage that way, but also share. Please share this video right now. Share it if you're on Facebook. Share it to your newsfeed, to other groups. That helps us. Facebook loves it when you share. And of course, like I always say,
sharing is
caring. Sharing is caring.
Did you talk about the tasting notes?
We didn't. Tasting notes.
Print those out.
And on our website.
On the website.
You can go to wherever you bought the flight or if somebody bought it for you. You can go to our website, siltwineco.com. We have a whole page dedicated to all our tasting flights. Find the tasting flights that you're on, and you can download the tasting notes. There's even a bingo.
A bingo card someone made. They're fantastic.
They're so funny. I can't remember who made that, but they're fun. Because David always likes to pair everything with lamb. That's one of the things on the card. Okay, moving on. Shout outs. I just want to say shout out to new club members. Thank you. We had 3 new club members this week.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Nathan Seal. Cheers, buddy. All the way in Texas.
About time, man. About time.
Yeah. And of course, with Nathan, I know your wife made the choice, Rachel.
Yes.
Cheers. Happy Mother's Day, Rachel. Emily Papalardo. Cheers to you. Another local Delta person. And Jamie Omond. Great to have you guys a part of the team, part of the club. Thank you for joining. So, David, I can't think of a better way to start.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Kelly and Kendon Thigpen.
Okay.
Thank you for purchasing this week, guys. Really appreciate it. They're locals in Sacramento. And then also Lloyd and Lindsay Green. Live right down the road. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
So nice to have you with us.
Cheers. And we kind of said it, but let's be really sure of it. Shout out to you moms.
To all the moms.
All the moms. Thank you for being mom. And you have such hard work, and you are just amazing at it. Here's what I want to know. How many of you watching right now are moms And then how many children do you have? Go ahead and post that in the comments. I'm just curious to know. I'm able to watch and look at all these comments coming through.
How many children and how many grandchildren?
And grandchildren. It all counts. Grandchildren. And if you're amazing and up with the times and you're of age, how many great-grandchildren? That would be crazy.
That'd be crazy.
If we have any great-grandmothers totally rocking the social media, I want to know. All right? And then just extra points, who's your favorite child?
Who's your favorite? Yeah.
If you post that, you get an extra kudo points. Everybody's going to like it. Yeah, that's what who's your favorite child? Okay. So let's moving on. We're starting with the Chenin Blanc Sparkling.
Yes.
Tell us about this wine, David.
So, who doesn't love a sparkling, especially on Mother's Day? Oh my gosh,
I hope it's really nice and cold for you guys.
Yeah, so this is nice and chilled down. So the Chenin Sparkling, it's actually a vintage year. It is a 2018 vintage Chenin Blanc. Comes from Block 44 behind us on this Udder Ranch. And the Chenin Blanc, man, it just does great as a sparkling wine. And a lot of people overlook it for the more typical sparkling grapes like Chardonnay and Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got some history there.
Great fight. Great twin fight on Pinot Meunier.
Yeah, we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah.
But Chenin Blanc has great acidity, and that makes it a great wine for sparklings. And then as the wine ripens, the acidity drops, but you get those tropical notes and everything, and that maybe peach, stone fruit kind of thing. And you get a hint of that in here, but you still get that great acidity. Just a really, really nice wine. What do you guys think? How many of you watched or attended the previous...
The Sparkling Flight.
The Sparkling Flight,
Yeah.
where we did this already with the Pet Nat and the Still Chenin.
Right.
We're revisiting again after a few weeks.
It's tasting great.
It's tasting great.
It's tasting great. It's got a little just hint of sweetness. What's cool about the Sparkling Flight, you can actually still buy it. It's on our website, and then of course we've got the YouTube channel. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. We're trying to get that up. But you can buy it on our website, and then there's the video of that flight is on that page, and so you can actually buy the flight. We actually had 2 people, I think, buy the Sparkling Flight this week. And so, yeah, it's not live, but it's still fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And it's a good time. So you can do that, and then we did the Sparkling, the Pet Nat Sparkling, which is totally different. You can learn the difference between the two. And we only have, did we say only like 12?
I think we have 20 bottles left.
20 bottles left of the Pet Nat?
Or that was back then.
We have less now.
Yeah, we have less now.
And then, of course, the Still Chenin Blanc, which is a hero of Clarksburg, I would call it.
Yes.
Right?
All right.
David, how about the vineyard? What vineyard did this come from?
It came from, as I said, it came from Block 44. Block 44 is an old block. It's one of our oldest. It's still actually furrow irrigated, so we only irrigate it twice a year. And it's just this kind of big, bushy vine with gnarly old cordons and spurs and this massive wood, and it's really quite beautiful, especially just in the springtime like now where the shoots are just popping out and getting some length to them, and you see all that gnarly wood underneath. It's a beautiful old vineyard. And we planted that vineyard almost 30 years ago, and it has gone into many wonderful Chenin Blancs, continues to go into the Dry Creek Vineyard Chenin Blanc, which even says Wilson Vineyard on it. Has gone into Pine Ridge Chenin and also Venum Chenin as well, and even Clarksburg Wine Company makes great Chenin Blanc. They say they're the world's best Chenin Blanc, so you have to go check it out.
Check them out, do a taste side-by-side comparison.
And then come over to Silt.
Our mission is to help you enjoy Clarksburg. If you're buying Clarksburg Chenin, you're winning, all right? Hey, I'm getting some really cool comments, and first of all, cheers to everybody that is, all the mothers out there. I'm getting all kinds of, we've got some grandmas, and somebody did mention their favorite child. I will keep that off camera, don't worry about it. And then they're asking food. People are commenting on what they pair this with. What will you pair Sparkling Chenin with? I'm throwing the question back out at you. Somebody's saying crab cakes would be good. This would be great with crab cakes.
You know what? I love
seafood. What would you pair with this?
But what's great about the crab cake is that toastiness on it too, because I get as much fruit as there is in this. With having the wine age a bit on yeast and everything, it picks up this kind of toasty character. Just think of like I'm baking a lot of sourdough these days, and just like fresh sourdough coming out of the oven. That aroma.
Oh man,
kind of getting in there a little bit.
That sounds so good. Now I'm getting even extra hungry. Hey, Noel Johas, thanks for joining. Just saw you there. Okay, let's. Shannon Ogilvie just commenting. Loves crab cakes. I'll try to make those for you, Shan. And Cassidy is saying she'll pair anything with sparkling wine.
That's a good answer.
That's
too.
a great answer.
Yeah.
You win. Hey, let's move on to a great segment. We have sparkling in our hands. Maybe I'll get a little top off there if you have it. And I'm replacing our regular, well, that's awesome, with, I'm going to call it an even more awesome segment.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. And it's our segment which will be a toast to moms. A toast to moms. David, have you figured out who your favorite mom? There's a lot of moms out there watching.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite mom? The mom that rules them all for you?
Yes, I do.
I mean, I don't know what's taking you so long to answer that. Who would that be?
I'm going to keep that to myself.
Oh, really? Well, I'm going to invite my favorite mom here up, Sandra Wilson.
Oh, there she is.
Come on up.
There she is.
Cheers.
Hey, Mom.
You took too long to think about it.
Good grief. I did not take long to think about it. I gave him all the time in the world. I don't know why he was tiptoeing around it.
I had you. I don't know how you could think of there's another mom.
Look, you know what?
I didn't know. I
was born first. I was first out of the womb. I mean, it just don't worry about it. Hey, you know what? Let's get Mom a glass of wine.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
We should
do that.
I was wondering.
I mean, he's in charge of pouring, and so Mom, thank you for joining us. You are. Look at that pour. Okay, that's extra love. That's extra love.
That's
love
because
you, Mom.
he forgot about me.
Cheers. Great work. So my mom is actually third generation of our family, and I actually refer to her as the matriarch now. Of course, my grandmother actually lives on the property right up here, but my mom has been engaged with the family business for over 20 years now, and really helping lead the way for our family in the next kind of generation, next phase of what our family's been doing. And you know, when you started this business 20 years ago, I mean, did you think over 20 years ago when you started into the business, your third generation, what did you see this happening?
When I grew up out here, it was row crops and tomatoes and riding in the back of Grandpa's truck.
Yeah.
And it has completely changed over. Not completely. We still have beautiful row crops out here, but amazing vineyards. The vista has changed. But the farmers still are farmers and work as hard as ever.
That's great. That's great.
No crying on the show.
No
Mom.
crying.
No crying.
You're crying. No, I'm not crying. You're crying. One thing that was so cool, I'm so proud of, is, you know, we went off to college, and this barn that is our tasting room, when I left this barn, I was like scared to walk over there because there's so much dust and like rodents and spiders. I don't like spiders. Who likes spiders? And it was just this place that I would like work in. What's going on? Yeah, I would work and we'd work on irrigation equipment. It was just this dusty old barn. I come back a couple years later and you transformed this place. Tell us about that.
Slowly but surely, it came into being. This portion actually was put together by your grandfather. I don't know why. We never had a party out here at the time that I remember.
But he liked to party.
But he loved to party, and I loved to throw parties. They threw him their 25th wedding anniversary party to surprise them when I was a junior in high school. And just enjoyed doing that. And so it just kind of kept going, and we've totally just enjoyed bringing people together. We're people. We love to get together with people, and it's just kind of exploded, and it's been great.
And so about 20 years ago, my mom started a brand that started out as a wine brand, Wilson Vineyards. A lot of people don't realize we're actually part of the same family, and then that, Wilson Vineyards became more of an event venue, and you did weddings. I mean, over 20 years, you probably did how many weddings out here?
Oh gosh, lots.
Okay,
And
don't do math. Don't worry about it. But a lot, and it's amazing how many times people will see a picture of Silt Wine Company and they say, "Oh, I got married there," way back, 10 years ago. That's really cool.
And a lot of Facebook friends are even watching that now send pictures of their kids on Facebook. So it's kind of fun to see everybody.
And of course, your children are now in the business. And your daughter, my sister, is taking over that same role. And she's doing events here at the tasting room, weddings, just like you did. You trained her well. She's done a great job.
It's been fun. And it is so rewarding having the kids come back, and though they're not kids, but to have them come back, be involved, watch the next. I mean, you can do anything you want to do. The tasting room is your ground floor now, and it's wonderful. And your grandfather would be over the moon, and I wish he was here because this would be really exciting for him. He was with the group that he'd go out and see August Sebastiani, and he was with the old guys and the gallows, and in those days it used to be a handshake for planting grapes, and now it's definitely changed.
Now it's a little more intense, but I think we still have those handshake mentality, or at least that heart, right? I mean, we're farmers first, and we try to keep that spirit, the same spirit that my grandfather had. We want that in Clarksburg and in our experience here. You all three of your kids are in the business now, and we're looking forward as the matriarch of this family. Where do you see us going in the next few years? What would you like to see happen?
Probably just following your dreams and following your footprint. Everybody does it differently. Everybody is, we have old ideas and you have new ideas, and you have new energy, and young energy is exhausting for us old folks. But just keep it going. Keep it moving forward. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be tough times, but you can do it. But
So one of the, you talk about tough times, and I gotta say this. I'm gonna try to say this without tearing up. It's like a Wilson gene to tear up when you get emotional and stuff. But I went to college in '98. As I said, you hit the ground running. You started your own business within the business, and it was your wing, and you really almost single-handedly, and your brothers were involved, of course, and helped financially with the family business, but you built something. You were a mom putting David and I through college, raising our younger sister in high school, and single mom at that point, and really doing everything you could to make ends meet. And I was so selfish, I didn't even know. I didn't realize how hard you must have been working. And I am so proud of you and all the hard work you did and built really the foundation that we have come in and built Silt Wine Company upon. And I've said it before, we couldn't be here without the work that you laid down and you started. Cheers. And continue support. But what would you say? I think there's probably a lot of moms out here that are watching or that will watch this video in the future that, man, they've got kids in college, they're raising kids, that right now they're trying to manage homeschooling and their job, and it gets tough. You made it through. What would you do? What would you say to those boss moms out there, the working moms out there that just need that dose of encouragement?
The best thing you can do is pick something that you love to do, because you could be doing it for the rest of your life. So pick something that you love to do, and it won't feel so much like a job that you're going to. It's something you enjoy. Plan on dreaming about it every night when you go to sleep. Plan on thinking about it constantly, because that's just part of digging your heels in and working hard. But it's worth it, and your kids will appreciate it, and you'll feel good about yourself. But it's not easy, but it's worth all the time.
That's great. And with that, I want to give a toast to moms, to the dreaming moms, to all the moms out there working hard, raising amazing children, and working in your vocation, your careers, and setting those goals. Go get it, and I hope you enjoy Silt Wine Company and enjoy Clarksburg. And cheers to you and all the hard work you're doing. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to Mom.
And to you too.
Thanks.
All right.
Before you go, we got one more question. And we always get these hard-hitting questions. And I think I saw it fly through here. And, you know, these questions are important. And so you got to be completely honest, okay? You might know what I'm going to ask you. Because I ask you all the time.
You always ask me.
But who is your favorite twin? Got to be honest.
Hold on one
Who's
second.
your favorite twin? What are you doing?
Oh, boy.
I'm a true mom.
You got to pull out the goods. All right. Well, with that, I won't let you answer that because you know we know it's David, but I did bring my mom some cookies because I love you so much and I really care about you, think about you all the time. So I brought you some cookies that I think you're gonna love. They have hearts on them, little jams inside of them.
Did you make them?
I didn't, but I looked really hard to find the best ones. So
thank you.
I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being such an amazing mom.
And Mom, I made this for you.
Oh, wow.
You gotta one-up me.
Well, every mom deserves sparkling wine on Monday.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye. Don't drink it all in one place. Unless you eat the cookies with it.
Okay.
There we go.
I think those cookies were good though. I mean, that was hard.
You
hard
opened
search,
you opened the box and tasted one, and then closed it up and gave it back
might
to
have-
her.
I
to
might
make
have-
sure they were good.
I just you want to make sure that everything's good.
Make sure
Quality.
the tamper evidence seal is still sealed.
Moving on. Yes, finally, your present was better, handmade. I get it. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna move on to our next wine. I gotta drink this quick. As a reminder, if you're just tuning in, Phil Ogilvie, David Ogilvie. I don't know if we said our names earlier. We are with Silt Wine Company, and if you are having a good time here, please share this video. You can find more of our flights on the website and our YouTube channel as well, these videos. Now, it's time to get back to a great rosé. I'll pour it if you want to start talking.
All right.
I want to finish this.
All right. So everyone, here's our Rosé of Valdiguié. Check the video a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We did all the different, or what Valdiguié is and what it used to be called and all that stuff. Mysterious grape of California, originally from France. So I love the way rosé is made out of this grape. It just, when you smell it, you get a nice aromatic, kind of bubblicious fruitiness. That gum, the Yipes fruit stripe gum.
Yes.
That's what this is, right?
This,
you guys remember?
Just tasting this. Usually, I don't taste this right after the sparkling Chenin. Tasting after sparkling Chenin is totally different. Yeah. Usually, I kind of go to this first.
Maybe the acid comes out even a little more. I mean, the wine is on the dry side, so it does have, a lot of acidity. But just as a wine, it's just a beautiful wine and beautiful color. And came from Block 20C.
So that's on the southern end of our AVA, which
is a little cooler. The block actually gets grown mostly for a sparkling wine house in California here in Sonoma, and I take a couple rows and do my thing to it to make a rosé. So, how many of you guys have had this wine before, and what's it like tasting a second time?
Well, that's a good question. How would you say a Rosé of Valdiguié? Because most people, we talked about this before, I think we might be the only ones with a Rosé of Valdiguié.
Possibly. I haven't seen another one. It doesn't mean there isn't one that exists.
I mean, it's possible. So it's a possible to produce. So somebody might. We're definitely probably the only ones like really making a go of it and really producing it in some quantities. But what is a Rosé of Valdiguié gonna taste like? Like, how's it gonna be different than a typical rosé that you'd find at similar price point? That's rosé of Pinot Noir or rosé of do they do what do they make rosés out of?
Rosé can be made out of any red wine.
Red, yeah.
So commonly a lot of Rhone reds get turned into rosé. Pinot Noir is also common. Really, when you're making a rosé, you want to have a lot of fruit and you want to have good acidity. And so whatever variety you're using, if you have that, you're going to be able to make a really nice rosé out of it. Just to describe how this one is different than others is a bit difficult for me to do because
you don't have all the others.
I don't have all the others, and it's but it does have a very good acidity, and it has a lot of fruit, and so I would say it holds up well against the competition.
I know. I'll say I do actually drink a lot of rosés, especially in the summertime, and I've noticed that our rosé, especially this vintage, a little bit lighter. Now you can find a lighter rosé, and David doesn't go that way. I mean, we want to make sure that our fruit is seen and tasted well. But I think I've tasted rosés that seem to be almost more robust in a way, like less refreshing, and maybe that's the high acid that you.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's rosés out there that tend to be a more sweeter style, and maybe left to ripen, maybe a little higher alcohol. This rosé is down at 12%, and maybe even a little lower. Actually, I'm trying to remember what's on the label. 12.9%, but yeah, it's just a really clean drinking, good acid rosé.
Alicia, I've got to share this question. Alicia, great question. She says, "Do you guys have a wine club?" Yes, we do. Find it on the website. Yeah, we'd love to help you with that. Yeah. And then I'm trying to think of any other specs or any other notes you have.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I mean,
we're good.
Aromatically, I do get strong aromatic notes of sunsets and sunburns.
Yeah,
sunburns. That's an Ogilvie sunburn waiting to happen on a poolside. Yeah. So we'll hopefully you don't have that plight that David and I do. So speaking of sunburn, remember when we were kids and we'd working out, not that way, working out in the fields.
Yes.
And we get those sunburns.
Yeah. You start peeling your shoulders off.
Oh, don't. That's too graphic. But I just remember like all the hard work that Dad and Grandpa would have us do out in the vineyards.
Yeah.
And now, like as an adult, it's kind of cool because I'm seeing it. Like now, I understand the whole spectrum of where everything fits. So with that, it's time for a brand new segment called In the Vineyard.
In the vineyard.
What's happening in the vineyard right now?
So we can't get in the vineyard without our sun protection, which for me is my hat, bingo square. So,
Larry Whitted has I think Larry's got like 3 inches of hat space on him.
He's got a good hat.
He's got a great hat.
So I wear this hat in the vineyard because it gets sunny and I want to protect my face. But yeah, in the vineyard right now, it is a very, very busy time. We've got a lot of crews working. We started at 6 a.m. And the crews that are working in the vineyards are working till about 1 o'clock. Then it gets pretty warm, and today it got close to 90, I think.
Oof.
And then, but what we're doing right now is called chute thinning. So when you see a vineyard rows trellised up, there's each cordon, which is the arm that comes up, the trunk comes up and then goes out, and each of those cordons have nodes or shoots that come out. Well, those get turned into spurs, and then those spurs grow shoots. And so eventually you just have a lot of shoots. So this time of year we go through and we chute thin. We take shoots out and just leave 1 shoot or 2 shoots per spur position. And we do that.
Why do you do that?
Good question. I was just going to say that. We do that to limit the crop load. So if we left everything there, we would have so much fruit on there that the vine would be out of balance and would not be able to ripen the crop correctly. And so it's a really good quality maneuver to shoot thin and limit that crop load so that the vine is in balance. And what's interesting is depending on which AVA you're growing in and the soils you have, the microclimate, some blocks you can grow more fruit per vine than other blocks. But the other way I look at that and decide how many shoots I want to leave per position or per vine is I go through and count all the little clusters. So right now the clusters are anywhere from the size of the tip of your pinky all the way to maybe even the full length of my finger. So, but you go through and count the clusters on the vine, and you do it to a number of vines, and then you get a good average. And then you can take the average cluster weight. So I take measurements every year and get cluster weights for Chardonnay and Petit Syrah and Chenin Blanc and Sauvignon Blanc. And I take that average cluster weight, multiply it by the clusters per vine, and then multiply that number by the vine per acre, and then the number of vines per acre, and then divide that by 2,000, and then you get the tons per acre.
Why 2,000?
2,000 is the number of pounds per ton.
There you go.
So then you have the tons per acre.
And that is called the yield.
Our yield, yes.
And so what is a typical yield? Let's say Chardonnay. Since we talked about Chenin Blanc, let's talk about Chenin Blanc and Viognier. Yeah. What are the typical yields on these two varietals?
So Chenin Blanc is actually a bit of a larger cluster. So if you have 10, if you have 10 clusters of Chenin Blanc, they're going to weigh more than 10 clusters of Chardonnay. So with this Chenin Blanc vineyard, we're really getting like about 9.5 tons per acre. And then with our Chardonnay, we're really looking at kind of 7 to 8 tons per acre. Right. And it all depends also on the type of trellising you have. And there's so many different factors that go into it. But right now, Chute Thinning is the first point in the year that we get to dictate what crop load we're going to put on.
And it depends on the client, right? So, did you guys realize how much math is in farming? I mean, what David's
the tip
doing,
of the iceberg.
Right, tip of the iceberg. This is what David is looking at, based on the client and what that client is paying per ton of fruit. Mm-hmm. And he's saying, okay, if you're paying that price, and we're doing the math, and I geek out on the math, and we get it into Excel spreadsheets and everything, and we say, here's what we're going to grow. Here's our target yield per acre. And then it's just working backwards. And David has the 5-year average cluster weight for every single block. So it's not just Chardonnay or Chardonnay in Clarksburg. It's Chardonnay in that specific block.
Right.
This is what this vine will do in this clone, right? Mm-hmm. And so you do all that math backwards, and you get the quality yield that you want. Now, if somebody wants to pay less price per ton, we're getting to the economics of farming here, less price per ton, well, we can maybe try to increase the yield a little bit, depending on the product.
It comes down to it's business. We need to hit a target financial gain per acre.
Right.
So if we're not meeting that, then we have to negotiate that contract.
Yeah. And I'll bring this full circle back to Silt. So when we are farming vineyards, for example, David mentioned earlier, he pulls a couple rows off of this the Valdiguié, and what he can do is farm that differently, and we're not selling it as a farmer price per ton. We're selling it price per bottle or price per case. And so the economics of that changes so that we are actually allowed to put more inputs into the vineyard, bring that yield down, which typically, not all the time, typically increases the quality and allows us to really focus in and hone in on quality Clarksburg AVA fruit and wine. And so that's really the magic behind being able to, I'll call, vertically integrate and having a multi-generational family business, being farmers first. It's really one of the benefits of our business model.
Well said. Well said. Yeah. So with that, cheers. Why not cheers to farming?
Cheers to farming. Cheers to Clarksburg. Okay, time to go big. Reclamation Red Blend. This is a big wine, and with the big wine, we're going to talk about aging a big wine. Of course, you can age all wines. We'll get into that too.
So it's a little warm here, so I had this sitting on ice a little bit here, just to keep it. You want it in your small glass or your big one?
Thank
there
you.
we go.
Big boy glass.
So we're gonna talk about the wine first, right?
Yes. Go ahead and give us some info. I think you got to start off with what's in the blend. I'm going to give that over to you.
All right. So if you guys watched our Reclamation series tasting a few weeks ago,
oh, man,
you'll know that this is a blend of 60% Petit Syrah, which is a hero grape of Clarksburg, and 20% Merlot, 15% Cab Franc, and 5% Syrah. So, oh man,
the aromatics on that. So while David faints over his own creation, I'll tell you this: David's forte is blending wines. He's got an amazing memory and an amazing palate, and so he's able to. We totally use him. We use him to make this magic, and so he is able to make these blends at different price points. I mean, you do a great job with our Muddy Boot Red Blend, which is on the shelf at a lower price point, and then we got Fellow, who doesn't have a red blend, but
now we have some different reds.
But we got this red blend is just big. It's jammy. I'll let you talk about it. This is magic.
You'll see right away when you taste this. It's just like loaded with tannin, and there's a reason for that. Is that the tannin helps wine age, and I've made this wine so that you can age it, and it's going to, I predict, hit its peak around 10 years. And it's just a nice big, lot of fruit, jammy fruit, and really balanced oak usage on this, on these separate lots, because they were aged in oak separately and then blended together before bottling. And so each of those lots, the Petit Syrah I think had the most oak, and then the Cab Franc and the Merlot bring about this little bit of this herbaceousness. The Syrah lifts up some of the jammy notes and maybe tobacco kind of thing going on. But you just has a full nose of really just interesting aromatics. Like I said, a lot of that tobacco. I'm getting it right off the bat. A lot of that tobacco, vanilla, and like cherry pie. And pie? I think that's a bingo square too.
Pie crust, maybe.
Pie crust.
But I said it anyway. Where are those notes coming from? I mean, that's part of your recipe. David's also an amazing chef, but part of your recipe is you're bringing those together. You're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
How are those arriving in this glass right now?
Well, each of those wines, those separate wines, have their kind of shining moment, right? And so when I taste those wines, I jot down notes that are like really sticking out to me. So that Petit Syrah, I've noticed, it really picked up that vanilla oak character really well, and
that comes from
the oak usage, yeah. And then also has of course a lot of tannin and this jammy quality. And then the Merlot, it's shining with this kind of like I hate to use the word pyrazine because there's pyrazine there, but it's really this kind of fruit-driven blackberry cherry thing. And then the Cab Franc really has this like raspberry, this kind of rhubarb raspberry dust thing going on. And and I put all that in my head and I think about how I want to put it all together. And then I make different blends and tweaking percentage of the Petit more or less and more Cab Franc and get it to where I want. And with this blend, I always want something that has a lot of tannin that's ageable, but then also has a lot of that fruit, that jammy fruit quality. And that's why Petit Syrah is the leading horse in this blend. Versus, say, the BDX, Reclamation BDX is a Bordeaux blend. I want to subdue that super jammy quality a bit and play up the herbaceousness, earthy qualities, and a bit more of that green character.
Man, what a great explanation. I think I get the Petit Syrah, the jamminess out of here. What do you guys get? What are some tasting notes that you're jotting down on your PDF or on your note sheet that you printed out from the website? I love the Petit Syrah on this. I think that's just a staple of all our Reclamation Reds, it's one of the reasons that it's always there. It's just one of the heroes of Clarksburg. Does so well and gives. I think I don't like to compare us to Napa all the time, but where Napa is cab is king over there. Like for Clarksburg, it's Petite Syrah. That's our cab. Right, and so we can just put out some amazing cabs, and then Petite Syrahs, and then what it also is able to do is really do these. Just makes a very ageable wine. At this, when you put it together like David does, it makes a very ageable wine. So let's use that as a transition to talk about aging. I think that actually was a question that was asked a couple different times. I think it was time. I think it was Christy was the one that asked Jordan was the one that asked it first. And that's a great question, and we want to address that because these are ageable wines, and so let's use some of that learning, the education. David's such a good teacher. Yeah, help us out here.
Right. Yeah, good teacher. That's me, with the wine glass in my hand.
Yeah.
Aging wine. It's kind of an art, and everyone has their different things. Let's just talk about the three main things. The three most important things in aging wine is light. The sunlight or even a fluorescent light, temperature, and humidity. Okay, so light, when it goes through the glass, and a quick note on glass, there's a reason why glass is certain colors. Light will go, or the colored glass filters light, so it protects the wine. Okay. A bottle that's clear like this, it's called Flint, that will not filter the light at all. This needs to be kept in a dark place. The light will just come in here and turn this wine brown. And that's why you rarely see Flint glass. Now, the reason this is in a Flint color is because everyone, you see all the rosés on the shelf, everyone wants to see the color, the beautiful color that rosé is. So people put in a Flint glass. But sometimes you'll see Sauvignon Blanc in Flint glass as well.
But typically those aren't the wines you're planning on aging.
No, you're not aging.
But you can, and it's interesting.
You can.
But
it's an interesting thing,
especially if it's high acid.
Yeah, but if you do age it, keep it in a dark place. So brown glass filters more light than green glass, and I think blue glass, which is rarely used in wine, filters the most light. That's some of the beer background that I'm pulling out of my memory. But so then we talk about temperature. The higher the temperature is, the faster chemical reactions or aging reactions happen. So for every 18 degrees Fahrenheit in temperature change, you'll double the reaction rate. So really the ideal aging temperature for wines is somewhere between 40 to 55 degrees, let's say, Fahrenheit.
Which is pretty cold.
Cool, yeah. I mean,
right.
we're not freezing. We don't want to age it in your refrigerator. And
right.
There's another good reason not to age wine on top of your fridge. I've seen people have those little wine racks and they just fit them on top of the fridge and they put their wine in there. Your fridge is humming and it's shaking, and constant movement like that break down the anthocyanins and the tannins, and just can really ruin a wine pretty quickly.
And a fridge can be hot too.
And a fridge can be warm too. Yeah. So you want to find a cool spot. In college we always used to, we couldn't afford wine fridges or cellars and something. So the best place to put your wine is in the case, on its side, in the closet. Put your shoes on top of it. Put it in the closet on the bottom. And that's a cool, dark place. It tends to be a cooler, darker place.
Now, why on the side?
Because the third thing is humidity. Did I say humidity?
You did say
yes,
humidity.
Okay. So you might say, well, how does humidity affect the wine? It doesn't really affect the wine necessarily. It affects the cork. So when you're aging wine with a cork, you want to keep it in an environment where that cork is moist and doesn't dry out. So if you age the wine, if you put the bottle on its side, it keeps the end of the cork wet and expanded, so no oxygen can get through or the wine doesn't leak out. And if it's proper humidity, then the cork from the other side, the top of the bottle, will stay nice and expanded. So those are the three main things. Should we talk about what? Go ahead.
David, you're going to keep going, but ask questions about aging. This isn't a topic we're going to be talking about a lot. So go ahead and ask those questions right now. And I'll also say we did get a question. Sorry, I can't remember who asked it, but asked why the name Reclamation. And the Reclamation is a series that we did to pay honor to the reclamation districts here around the Clarksburg AVA. If you've ever been out to the Delta, there's levees everywhere. The reclamation districts helped build those levees early on, 100 years ago, but they are the management tool to help siphon water out of the districts, out of the inside of the farmable areas, and then also bring water back in. And so really you can't have, the Clarksburg Delta it's a delta, and if you don't have a mechanism to pull water out in the winter, will actually flood. And it makes the ground harder to farm. And so without the reclamation districts, we don't have the Clarksburg
There would be
AVA.
no Silt.
So we wanted to pay honor to the farmers. David's on Reclamation District over Merritt Island. Our grandfather was on the Reclamation District 999. All the Reclamation Districts are numbered, and they're actually on the label. You can see them. A lot more information on our Reclamation flight. That's a video you can find on a YouTube channel on our website. But you were going to mention something, and while you talk, I'm going to look for some more questions.
All right. So as wines age, you'll find that the reds tend to get lighter in color, and the whites tend to get darker in color. So what's happening there? So the whites, as they age, they oxidize. Aging is an oxidation process. So the goal when you're aging wine is to have that as a more a consistent, slow process over time. And as the white wine oxidizes, it gets brown. So if you find a wine that's been aged for, a Chardonnay that's been aged for 10 or 20 years, you'll see that it has a more golden hue or even to brown. If it's a dried up cork and gets really oxidized, it'll be brown. And if it's been aging well in a dark place, it'll just have a hint of gold to it. And then a red wine, what's happening is that the anthocyanins and the pigments in the wine start settling out, and the polymers start joining, and then as they get heavier, then they settle out, and then so you'll see the sediment at the bottom of the bottle, and a lot of that is color, and so as the wine ages, you get this kind of brick orange edge to it, and the longer it happens, the lighter the wine will get.
So if somebody wanted to, you said this, your expectation is this thing's going to peak at around 10 years. Mm-hmm. Somebody asked, I think it was Debbie Johnson, was asking, hey, if we want to have a plan to have these wines and age these wines, what would you say someone should do?
So really if you can afford it, the most fun thing to do is buy a whole case of the same wine, and then you age it. And after, you're gonna taste the wine and kind of guess, like, okay, let's start maybe at 5 or 8 years, and then maybe this one you start at 5 years, and every year you open one bottle, and then when you get to that peak, then okay, this thing is ready. I'm gonna have a party with all my friends. However, there is an old law, and I wrote it down. I had to look it up. I knew it existed. I couldn't remember the name. It was Coates' Law of Maturity. This I'm just going to read this verbatim. Okay, says a wine will remain at its peak, its optimum drinking quality, for a duration of time that is equal to the time of maturation required to reach its optimal quality.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
In a nutshell, it says if this wine takes 10 years to reach optimal quality, it will be at that optimum for another 10 years. So you'll have 10 years to drink that case of wine. So
that would be horrible if you waited 10 years. If you had one every year, that's what I would do. Yeah. How do you hold on to this?
Yeah.
And if I waited every 10, and then I only have 2 bottles left.
Yeah. Well, then you know that you can save the second bottle for year 9 or something for that
super special.
So
Mother's Day.
And then exactly. But what's interesting about Coates' Law is that is very subjective. It's a law, but it's very subjective. Because what my palate says is, I'll drink a wine and say, oh, this is perfect right now. Well, my palate says I've got 10 years or however many years till this is no longer at its peak. Where my brother here, he might taste it and say, oh no, this wine's not ready. It needs another 5 years. Well, then 5 years later, he tastes it now. He says this is its peak. Well, now he's going to enjoy that wine for even longer, and it's going to stay at its peak for his palate even longer. It's a really interesting law. There's a lot going on there, and there's been a lot of wine critics who've studied it and tend to agree with it.
I'm going to wrap us up.
Right.
I didn't get a ton of questions here, and we're kind of getting long on time, but I'm going to wrap us up here, and I'll give you a couple tools that I've used. The Vino app, you can download that app. They'll actually, the community, if you find a wine that you're enjoying, you can read on there, and the community will actually respond and say, hey, I think this needs another 3 years, or needs another 5 years. If our wines are not on there, please add them for us. You can, post a picture, you can write your own review and all that kind of stuff. But I use that app to, especially when I'm spending $100 on a bottle or something, I want to make sure that I'm not drinking it too early and all that. And so I take a look. And of course, if you buy a case, you want to make sure that you are participating in the aging process, because that journey is so fun. I've done it a couple times with some special wines, and in fact, David and I both saved a few cases of some special wine that we really enjoy, and we want to make sure that we participate in the process, and we do enjoy it I look at once a year. So, what's your take on this wine? You say it's subjective. What's your guess? Are you thinking?
I'm thinking 10 years. I think it's got the tannin, it's got the acidity. Yeah. It'll do great.
And that goes with the AVA, and that goes with the Petit Syrah. The Petit Syrah has got a lot of tannin. The AVA allows us to have some great acidity in our wines and our fruit, and so we can get that strong ageable wine. Again, this is the cab of Clarksburg, right?
Right, and just another note on aging. I know we're short on time, but for those of you who have those fancy wine fridges where you can have different temperature levels, your whites want to be there at 40 to 45, and then the reds, 50. 45 to 55, and then if you don't have one of those fridges, but you do have a basement cellar or something, and you keep all your wine there, you want to store the reds at the top, and the coolest part is the bottom, so you put the whites on the bottom. So.
Right. Okay, we are going to wrap up, and then we're going to have another giveaway. I don't know if I told you about this, Dave. We got another giveaway, last minute giveaway. I didn't even promote it or anything, but I thought it'd be fun. I mean, every mom wants flowers on Mother's Day, right? So I got the hookup on flowers. So we're going to do that giveaway. But coming up next week, we're going to do our Hero Flight. We call it the Hero Flight because of this. This next week, actually started yesterday, is Nurses Day. And we all know, or Nurses Week, we all know that nurses are just killing it right now, doing such a great job. Poor choice of words.
Yes.
They're doing such a great job. That's my coaching background. That was bad. Anyway, the nurses are doing such a great job, and we just so thank you. But we're going to expand it. There's a lot of heroes out there. If you have a hero in your life, we're thinking those first line, the first responders, buy them this flight, and we're going to give you 20% off. You go to our website, use Hero20, all caps, Hero2020, and we're going to give you 20% off so you can buy your hero one of these tasting flights and hook them up. Dave, you want to tell us what's in the flight here?
Yeah, so these are the heroes of Clarksburg. We've got our Chenin Blanc, of course, just a fantastic Clarksburg wine, just great acidity and all that fruit. And then we have Sauvignon Blanc as well. We've been growing Sauvignon Blanc for 30 years, and it's just does really well in Clarksburg. Napa and Sonoma buyers love it. And then we have, of course, our Petit Syrah. Yeah. That's the other hero of Clarksburg. We just Clarksburg just become known for that.
That's gonna be cool. If you buy the flight and you want to add a reclamation to it, you can do that, and that would be a cool side by side.
That would be a good comparison. Yeah.
You see what you're doing to a Petit Syrah, because it's 60% Petit, right?
Yeah, and it's the same Petit Syrah.
Yeah.
The 60%. This wine is the same Petit Syrah as the other one.
So Hero20 is the discount code, the promo code. We're posting this video on YouTube. It's going to be uploaded onto YouTube and then onto our webpage. Do us a favor, share the video, and it really helps us out. And then let's do a giveaway. Friend of mine, WTF, What the Flowers.
Yes.
What the Flowers.
Victoria
Rule, Jeremy Rule, they have a great business. I couldn't believe I called her up last minute. I was like, I got a good idea. She's already sold out of her Mother's Day bouquet. She's sold out. She's that good. She's that busy. But she said that, you know, she might be able to do some work. You know, if somebody really needed it was really important to them to get something for Mother's Day, she might be able to figure something out. But we're going to let you, work with Victoria to pull that off. Victoria shared that she's going to give away, we're giving away a bouquet of flowers for moms. Bouquet for mom. So I don't know if it's the Mother's Day bouquet for mom. And then also, she's so cool. When I said that, she said, well, you know, if anybody wants the hookup, you can go use a promo code on her website. Just Google What the Flowers. Don't Google WTF. That would be a bad idea. Oh. What the Flowers. And Silt 10, all caps, the number 10, Silt 10 will give you 10% off anything you want. But she's got $55 value bouquet to give away. So
great.
These are everybody that purchased a flight. All right, everybody that purchased a flight.
My wonderful wife Anna, it was her birthday yesterday, and some friends gave her a bouquet from Victoria, from What the Flowers, and it is fantastic. All right, so it is Francisco Lozoya. Francisco
Lozoya. Shannon's gonna be reaching out to you and setting up an email introduction. Of course, there's always more details, fine print that we're not going to go over, but Victoria will help you enjoy those flowers. She's a great friend. She's done a great job, and that's always fun to give flowers to mom.
So, final toast?
Let's do a final toast. David, I'm going to give it to you first.
I want to do a quick, big toast to the Sacramento's Big Day of Giving. That is happening right now. That is today. It ends at midnight tonight. There are so many organizations out there, needy organizations that are waiting for you to donate now. Just do a search for Sacramento Big Day of Giving, and you'll find all the information. I for one, gave to Center for Land-Based Learning this morning. Great organization, local, that is growing farmers. That's what they do. So Big Day of Giving.
I want to give a shout out to all of the electeds, everybody that has been elected to office, especially in Yolo County. I have been working with Yolo County a lot lately, trying to help the tasting room get open and do something for you guys. And just working with them, they are working hard. And it doesn't matter your political views, okay? They were elected and they're working hard. You need to know that. And I just say cheers to all of you, especially those of you in Yolo County. So cheers. And with that, all the way from Silt Wine Company Studios and The Silt Show. The Silt Show, we say thank you for enjoying Clarksburg. Cheers.
Happy Mother's Day.